Welcome back. You're watching the Urban Debate. Now, the Lok Sabha mandate everybody knows about, but there are several state governments that will go into state elections fairly soon. The question we're asking right now is how this particular mandate is going to impact now the state elections. To take you through which states are going to go into elections later this year, Avni Raja is standing by right now with the numbers that these four states will obviously impact as well. Avni?
Thanks for that, Faye, and good evening to you and all our panelists as well. Well, we're talking about four states here. We've got Maharashtra, Jammu Kashmir, Haryana and Jharkhand. And before I get to the numbers, what's interesting here is that if you compare the 2014 and the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, more or less the BJP's performance has been pretty much the same, barring a few seats here and there. So like you said, we'll have to see now how this translates into the assembly elections. So let's start with Maharashtra first. We've got the numbers up for you. Both 2014 and 2019 practically the same between the BJP and the Shiv Sena, 23 seats each for the BJP and 18 seats each for the Shiv Sena. But when you look at the assembly elections as well, we'll just get that up. BJP got 122 seats with Shiv Sena 63. So this is something that we'll have to watch out for as far as the BJP-Shiv Sena alliance is concerned as well, because like we know, they've been through some rough weather, but they are determined to stick to the united front that we saw in the run-up to the Lok Sabha elections as far as the assembly elections are also concerned. Shifting focus, of course, to Jammu and Kashmir. This is something obviously that's very eagerly watched as well. Again, 2014, 2019, exactly the same for the BJP, 3 seats each in both the elections. So the assembly elections, as far as the assembly elections are concerned, we saw BJP getting 25, and of course we know that the PDP-BJP coalition broke down. So we'll really have to wait and watch on this one, how this really pans out. Shifting focus to the state of Haryana now. Again, in Haryana here, the 2019 performance has improved, to 10 seats versus 7 seats in 2014. So this is where, in fact, BJP has improved their performance in Haryana. Assembly elections as well, BJP got about 47 seats. So we'll just get that up for you in just a minute. And that is what, again, we'll have to wait and see how this translates going forward to the assembly elections for the state. And finally, the state of Jharkhand, where more or less it's been the same. We're seeing a difference of 1 seat as far as 2019 is concerned for the BJP, 1 seat less, 11 versus 12 in 2014. And the assembly elections, we've got about 37 seats that we saw last time on for the BJP. So big question here is, how is this really going to translate? Will the BJP and its allies be able to take forward their performance of the 2019 Lok Sabha elections and 2014 assembly elections into the next assembly elections for these states? Faye, back to you.
All right, Avni, many thanks for all of that information. So it's certainly interesting. It's going to be an interesting year going forward to see what happens. Now, we've discussed already what happens or what's likely to happen in Karnataka and in Madhya Pradesh, where there are 2 non-BJP governments that have a very slim margin, and how this mandate might impact them. But also going into state elections going forward, this might be a change as well. Yes, on this conversation, Hitesh Jain for the BJP, Charan Singh Sapra for the Congress, Neerja Chaudhary is a senior journalist. In the studio with me, Badshah Sen, Rajesh Sundaram, Bharat Kumar Raut and Vinay Tiwari. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us and being part of this, part of another conversation on politics and the election. Neerja ji, good evening to you and thank you for joining us as well. I'll start with you. Interesting state elections coming up this year. And we can see how in Maharashtra, Devendra Fadnavis and Uddhav Thackeray have sort of already turned the victory into part of their election campaign. But the other states that were talked about, do you believe that this mandate will give the BJP a fillip and sort of give them an advantage in those states as well?
You know, for a start, the election season is not yet over. For those of us who felt, who are a bit fatigued at the end of it all, as I'm sure the media is, the politicians are, the parties are, I think more is to come, as you were saying, because the elections are due in Maharashtra, Jharkhand, Haryana, in Delhi early next year. There is speculation whether Bihar elections can be advanced because of the advantage it would give them, and go for the kill now while the going is good, and of course Jammu and Kashmir. So there's going to be a spate of assembly elections coming up. Now, I would say yes, the impact of the Lok Sabha elections will reverberate in these assembly elections. Uh, Certainly in Haryana, where the BJP has gone in for, Jat versus anti-Jat consolidation against Jat, and Jats getting divided. This I don't think is likely to change so quickly. Jharkhand has been a surprise because there was information that the tribals were feeling unhappy with their forest rights getting affected, and the tenancy laws that are there. So, and also if you minutely scrutinize the details of the outcome in those assembly seats, some losses have been very, very narrow by the opposition, and there is everything to suggest that the tribal unhappiness may have been there, and that is something the BJP will have to address. And the government of Mr. Raghuvar Das has not been as popular as maybe say Mr. Fadnavis's government in Maharashtra. So I think that also, but overall I would say Maharashtra also, but the decision will be whether to go with the Shiv Sena. I would think they would hang together given the victory. Of course, in 2014, they had de-linked because the whole question of the chief minister will come up. I believe the Shiv Sena was promised that they will get the chief ministerial candidate in the assembly elections. And that is the reason why they decided to go along with the BJP in the Lok Sabha polls. But now with the BJP having done so well, will they stick to their promise and so on? Again, about Bihar, will they advance the elections? Delhi will be a very different ball game, with Aam Aadmi Party, which has been virtually wiped out in the Lok Sabha election. That may not happen in the state election because they are seen to have worked well as far as the mohalla clinics, schools, water, bijli is concerned. So, yes, overall advantage to the BJP given the mandate of 2019 Lok Sabha elections, also in the assembly elections coming up.
That's very well said. Mr. Raut, obviously I'm going to ask you about Maharashtra, and we have a couple of viewers who are also asking. So Vachit Ali says, will the farmer crisis in Maharashtra affect the BJP in the state elections? I think that yesterday we got a fair answer to that as well. But obviously, Devendra Fadnavis and Uddhav Thackeray now very well placed for the Maharashtra elections in October.
Yes, they are well placed, very well placed rather. The situation is the same as was in 2014. But what happened by October 2014 was a different picture altogether. Therefore, I am not still sure, though they are taking the vows and they are saying that yes, we are together, I am not very sure whether that word will be kept till October.
Will it depend on how Uddhav Thackeray is treated by the BJP Central Command in the next couple of months?
Exactly. Then not only how Mr. Uddhav Thackeray is treated, there are 2-3 other things. One is what type of treatment they get in the union cabinet. Last time, if you remember, after the swearing in, only one Shiva Sena man was taken in the cabinet, and that too he was given heavy industries ministry that is very light as far as administration is concerned. So that was actually it was a humiliation. After that, there were 2 occasions when Shiva Sena man could have been inducted in the ministry, but that never happened for 5 years. Shiva Sena had no addition in the cabinet. Telugu Desam had lesser number of seats in Lok Sabha. However, they got 3 ministries.
Yes.
Akali Dal, they had a lesser number than Shiva Sena. However, they got 2 ministries. But Shiva Sena, the longest friend of BJP, since the BJP's inception, they got only 1 seat. And that wound has gone deep into not only Shiva Sena chief, but into Shiva Sainik's mind. So now he is keeping his fingers crossed. If he gets, according to him, fair justice in the cabinet formation, they're the way ahead. Otherwise, they would part and go separately.
Well, Hitesh Jain from the BJP in Mumbai. Mr. Jain, first of all, congratulations. It's the first time you and I are speaking since the results came out. Obviously, you're all very happy within the BJP, but I also know that it's a party that doesn't rest on its laurels, so which means that you've already begun working on the October elections. What is, is the BJP likely to be nicer to the Shiv Sena this time because you want to maintain a good relationship going into the state elections?
Faye, first of all, thank you so much for your best wishes for the party's performance in the general election. Insofar as the relations with Shiv Sena is concerned, I'm sure this is a matter of amuse and debate, and that's been happening. But people have to understand that we have been partners for last 30 years. Fine, like in the previous term, we did had some differences on certain point. I mean, Shiv Sena had a different point on various aspects which they spelt out. But at the end of the day, ideologically, we both are on the same path, and we are able to manage the relationship between both the parties is extremely harmonious. And I'm sure the party leadership has, in the elections we fought together, and going into the assembly election also, I'm very confident that we will contest the election unitedly, and will put a much better performance in the upcoming assembly elections also.
Well, it's interesting that Hitesh Jain says the party is harmonious in its relationship, because I describe the BJP and the Shiv Sena as a Ross and Rachel of Indian politics. They're together, then they're not together, then they're on a break, then they come back together again. You never know how this is going to play out. It's an on again, off again relationship. And they have disagreed on everything till 1 month before the election. Even on the mandir, Uddhav Thackeray was quoted saying, if they don't make it, I will go to Ayodhya and make the mandir myself. So I don't understand
We agree to disagree also.
Only when before there's an election coming up, Mr. Jain, and October is fairly far away.
Look, for 4 years and 8 months, Shiv Sena was the principal opposition party in Maharashtra. In the last 4 months, of course, like Ross and Rachel, as you said, there was love bloomed again, and they were back together, and everything happened happily ever after, as they say. But look, for me, the relevance of state elections is not just because BJP is this unrelenting machinery which wants to win every state and puts a very heavy premium on and actually getting every state. They have that mindset, and that's a very aggressive mindset. But I think there is one other reason why the BJP is very, very desperate, not only to win the state, but to win them well, and that is the impact it will have on the Rajya Sabha numbers. Because remember, that's where they've had a bit of a problem in some of the legislative business. Some of the stuff that they've tried and attempted has been blocked in the Rajya Sabha. Right now, they only have 73. And I think they're very keen to do very, very well in states, because it certainly impacts them in the next 5 years or so, because clearly they're not the types who are going to rest.
So there are two places, obviously Rajya Sabha, and the second important part is the GST Council,
that's
where
the
you
other
have
thing,
one
course.
vote for every
Absolutely,
state.
You have every state. So I think because a lot of the major, even if you want to do some major constitutional changes, and I'm not suggesting anything sinister here, I'm just saying some of the key reforms or the key issues that may require a constitutional amendment, allows you to do it if you have a easier or at least some bit of a thicker majority in the Rajya Sabha. Currently, they have that problem, and I think they have definitely. Maharashtra is a big state, and of course, you have 19 Rajya Sabha seats from Maharashtra, though some of them will not have their tenure ending, but definitely it has an impact on them, and I think they are very, very desperate to get all the states in their bag.
Well, let me just bring in Charan Singh Sapra, who's with the Congress in Mumbai. Mr. Sapra, who is going to oppose the BJP and the Shiv Sena in the state elections? The Congress in Maharashtra has crumbled. We don't know who your leaders are. How are you even going to go into this election right now?
There have been instances where, the people, the voters have different choices for the central election and for the assembly election. The recent example is of Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh. Even if you go to 2014 Lok Sabha elections, and after that there were Delhi elections and Bihar elections, the results did not go the Modi way or the BJP way. So people have different choices. Even the issues that differ, like when there'll be assembly elections in October, there might be different issues. There are issues which are still pending. The Dangar reservation issue, the drought issue is pending. There are several issues which are pending. So as far as the leadership is concerned, the leadership is there, and probably this Lok Sabha elections, Narendra Modi and BJP were able to convince the voters on nationalistic issue, on the Hindutva issue, which we could not, So
what are your issues for October?
So I feel that the issues, see, for October there will be several issues. There will be the agrarian crisis will be the issue. The drought situation is there. There is a Dangar reservation issue. There are various issues of different cities also. So there are going to be smaller issues, not the national issues in the assembly elections.
Mr. Sapra, first of all, your answer on issues obviously shows that the Congress doesn't, as of now, have a plan for the state? Secondly, who are the candidates? Who are your leaders? Who are the candidates? Who's going to lead your party? How are you going to do this? Because you seem right now, at least in Maharashtra, as if the party has just completely been swept out of the state. Tell us who your leaders are, who will lead the charge for the Maharashtra state elections.
Okay, there are all the leaders are there. Doesn't matter if the leaders have lost their election. You will say that Ashok Chavan himself has lost the election. Doesn't matter. Elections, sometimes we lose, sometimes we win. Even the Bharatiya Janata Party, Hansraj Ahir, the central leader, union minister has lost. Anand Gite has lost. There are several leaders who have lost. Hardeep Puri in Amritsar has lost. So there are several big leaders who have lost. But there are leaders. Maharashtra has Prithviraj Chavan, Maharashtra has Ashok Chavan. There are several other leaders who have been ministers. They lead the election campaign.
Okay, so you took the name of 3 ministers in which you mentioned Ashok Chavan twice, and Ashok Chavan has just lost an election. Mr. Rath.
Yeah, Charanjit, I would like to ask one question. Actually, that is my concern. So I am asking you this. Radhakrishna Vikhe, he resigned as the leader of opposition. Yeah. That is a constitutional position. He resigned from that before the elections. After that, as a statutory thing, you held a meeting of MLAs and then you decided, you are supposed to decide your leader. However, you threw the ball in Rahul Gandhi's court and decided that resolved that the party leadership will take the decision. And party leadership is not yet taken the decision.
Yes.
Now elections are just around the corner, and you don't have leader of opposition in the house. Yes. Then what does that mean? Under whose leadership you will be running the next session, which is just from tomorrow, I think.
Most of the big leaders of the Congress have lost the election and won't make it to parliament at all.
Ashok Chavan is lost, so your party
Mallikarjun Kharge has lost.
Milind Devra has lost.
Yes.
So who will be rolling the Mumbai unit? So you have your leaderless community. So how
actually, let me just take a detour from this conversation very quickly. Mr. Sapra, do you know if Rahul Gandhi has offered to resign and if his mother has accepted his resignation?
Look at the BJP guy. He's grinning.
See, there's a there's a CWC meeting tomorrow at 11 a.m. and it will be discussed over there. Whatever will be discussed will come to the media also. And as far as this Maharashtra issue is concerned, what Mr. Raut was talking, see, the MLAs have made a one-line resolution. The party leadership will decide about it, and the assembly session is still far away. It's on 17th June probably. So before the assembly session, we'll give our leader. What's the problem in it?
Okay, fair enough. Let me just bring in Neerja Chaudhary before I come back to the panel in the studio, because we also have Haryana and Jharkhand to discuss. Neerja ji, when in the history of India has an Indian mom ever accepted a resignation from her son? And if there's anyone worse than Indian moms when it comes to fussing over their sons, it's Italian moms who are legendary for fussing over their sons. It's called the Mera Raja Beta syndrome. I think that, our Indian politics or the Congress party is currently, being crippled by. But do you think that there should be a stronger overhaul of leadership in the Congress party at this point?
Look, as far as the overhaul of the leadership is concerned, it's a very tough one. I say this, that Rahul Gandhi has done his best in the last 1 year, much better than in the previous years. But that best is not good enough, has not proved to be good enough. So the Congress party has been found wanting in its leadership when it comes to be pitted against Modi-led BJP. No match for its in terms of leadership, no match in terms of the organization, no match in terms of strategy and planning, no match in terms of the sheer hard work. Now that is a state. But if you say let Rahul Gandhi go, who will come and replace him? It's a big dilemma for the Congress party. Is there anybody who has that pan-India appeal at the moment? Will the party get divided? Will your solution therefore turn out to be worse than your problem? It's a real real problem in the Congress today. So they will have to address this. I would make just 2 points here. You talked about the mother. You know, when you asked the question that has Sonia Gandhi accepted Rahul Gandhi's resignation? Well, that to me was a very curious, Rahul Gandhi's resignation surely should not go to Sonia Gandhi today. She's not the party president. It should go to whether the Congress Working Committee or the Parliamentary Board to take a view on this, whatever. Number two, it's the time may have come when the Congress party, for instance, who will lead, for instance, who will be the LOP in Maharashtra, with this Vikhe Patil having resigned, his son having joined the BJP, etc., etc. Now the time has come when the MLAs should be given a free hand to take those decisions. And the high command imposition, everything left to the high command, that kind of culture, I think the Congress should start moving away from. And if, like YSR Reddy was given a free hand in Andhra Pradesh before he died, and he delivered. Amrinder Singh has delivered today. He's been given a free hand. Let the state leaders be given a free hand to develop the party as they think best. And the high command should have a very light touch kind of control.
Okay, I mean, the three of you have spent enough time in Delhi as journalists to help us understand this better. There is a CWC or a working committee in the Congress. There is a panel that makes decisions. But does it really make decisions?
If you ask me, no, absolutely not. So look, so far, till now, in the last, ever since India became an independent, there is a charade that always happens in Congress where they will offer to resign and then there'll be a loud chorus where they'll say, no, we can't do without you, we love you a lot, please don't resign.
You are our leader.
And then they will say the wish of the workers is that you should continue as a leader, and the wish of the workers then prevails. This is the charade we've seen each time. And likely may happen again. I mean, I'm not too sure, as Neerja was saying, that they will be bold enough to say, okay, I'll be the chairman emeritus, somebody else is the CEO.
Is it possible for the CWC of the Congress to actually fire Rahul Gandhi? I mean, in the sense that he resigns, they accept the resignation. Is it at all possible?
In these given circumstances, certainly not. It's like, how would I put it? It's like an employee of a closely held family-run company firing the owner.
The boss's son.
Yes, yes. So, but this is not how the Congress always used to be. It's been like this since the 70s, since Mrs. Gandhi took over. So what?
I mean, from the 70s till today, that's
a long time.
That's a long time.
It's a long time.
Yeah,
but
that's a long time.
So the Congress has often talked about how they'll reform the country, reform how people think. I think the priority for the Congress is to reform itself. And the best way to do it is to basically go, how they're going to do it, I don't know, because at the end of the day, the big stumbling block is the Gandhi family, number one.
Because at the end of the day, like Neerja ji was pointing out, all decisions, even the smallest decisions, are left to what they call party high command, which is the Gandhi family. All power play is about how close you get to the Gandhi family, whether you're allowed inside that, that closed circle, who closest to the Gandhis in some way. That's, I mean, that belongs in the 70s. It doesn't belong in modern day India.
Absolutely. And to continue with the analogy of the closely held, family-held company, there are many such companies in India which have changed over the years.
Yes.
For instance, their factories have spread all over the country.
They
now,
hire CEOs.
I don't think the one owner goes around running all the factories, all the branches. So, let's look at it, even if it was a corporate, it is that your local brand management, your local manufacturing, this thing has to take place. So what they need to do is they need to have, Rahul Gandhi started off well, he said, I'll have internal elections. Where are those internal elections? Even if, okay, at the moment Rahul Gandhi doesn't stand for election, but let us have internal elections from within each state unit, where local leaders emerge from within the Congress, and then you have at least an elected state level leadership. Next is that those state level leadership should be part of the CWC.
Yes.
And that is how you can get a sort of feedback I don't think Rahul Gandhi had any feedback from the ground.
It was, Rajesh, do you believe that Rahul Gandhi is taking enough advice from the right people and not the ones who surround him in the inner circle, hoping to gain his approval, agreeing with him on every count and being sort of yes men?
I don't think so, because like Mr. Sen was saying, they have to go down to the ground. They have to decentralize the decision making. Mr. Rawat would bear me out. For instance, the decision on arrangements on tie-ups with other parties should be left to the people on the ground in the states. For instance, in Maharashtra, if you look at the Bahujan Vanchit Aghadi, they were driving a hard bargain. But if they had taken what was there and had a flexible approach, I think there was a lot to have benefited from there. Also in other states. So if those decisions are taken by leaders on the ground and those are practical decisions based on the ground situation, it would be much better rather than having a centralized decision where half the issues are not understood.
Yes.
So clearly, I would agree also with Vinay about how they will go through the motions of offering of a resignation and all of that. I think that's already started with the various state unit presidents saying that they want to resign. The same thing will happen at the state level as well. They would be asked to continue, and the same would happen at the central level. But I think what is required...
And that's possibly why after every election, we see this whole, we take personal responsibility, and then in the next election, you see this whole thing repeat itself. The performance is similarly abysmal, then they'll again offer to resign, and they're just going around in circles because no real reform is actually taking place.
Perhaps I would say that from tomorrow morning, I am expecting series of statements. Statements will start pouring in from all over, from Jilla Adhyaksha to the
everybody
and offering full faith and confidence in the leadership of Rahul Gandhi, and so that Rahul Gandhi does not go. It is like a family matter, like where everything is done. Family discusses everything, and then finally decide Dadaji ka kya kehna hai. Dadaji jo kahe wo karenge, and that is it. Now leader of opposition for Maharashtra Assembly for the only 4 months. 4 months, and that decision MLAs cannot take
on their own. Yes.
Well, so this is the fault lies not only with the top leadership, but with the rank and file of the party.
Yes. In fact, I just want to ask Charan Singh Sapra.
I want to ask Mr. Sapra.
Yes,
that
Mr.
Are they
Jain.
going to outsource the decision making? I mean, are they going to also outsource this question of who will be the leader of the opposition to Mr. Raj Thackeray? Because their whole campaign has been like, they outsource the whole campaign to Raj Thackeray on whether they are going to import. So I mean, like, whether they are going to go to Raj Thackeray also to ask as to who the leader of opposition going to be.
Mr. Sapra, what role is Raj Thackeray playing in the Congress right now?
See, too much of concern about Congress party has been shown about each and every panelist.
Yes, we are very concerned.
Too much of concern has been shown.
India's oldest party is in trouble. Mr. Sapra, you should also be concerned.
Let me. No, we are not in trouble. Let me start from Mr. Sen. Mr. Sen gave a picture. As of there are no organizational elections. Let me remind you that there are organizational elections at the Youth Congress level also, at the parent body also.
Where is the Youth Congress?
We had an all due process right from block level to the Congress president level, which you might have seen. But probably Mr. Sen has not seen.
Please, Mr. Sapra, Rahul Gandhi stood unopposed for Congress president and everybody voted for him. I think you should stop convincing yourself that this is in any way.
If the voters, if the AICC members, Faye, please allow me to answer. Please allow me to answer. If the elected AICC members
answer you.
No, Mr. Sapra,
I think this is a pointless waste of our audience's time. If Mr. Sapra is going to deny that the party is in trouble, he said we are not in trouble, so he's in denial. Let's move on, because I don't want to waste any more time on this conversation. Mr. Hitesh Jain. Mr. Sapra.
You don't want me to reply.
Mr. Sapra, your reply was that we are not in trouble and we conducted elections for our party president. Neither of those things are true.
No, let me reply this, that all the elected AICC members have taken a unanimous decision to elect the President Rahul Gandhi. What is wrong in that? Why
was
you
his
need ballot
opponent?
papers when all the elected AICC members have given a vote
actually,
by
let me just speak to Mr.
picking up
Sapra.
their hands?
Between whom?
Yeah,
You chose between
so
whom?
are
You
you?
have seen the
so-
AICC session, it was in Delhi.
Why
only.
could you, no, one second, let's
Don't
actually
give a
be
wrong
objective
picture
about
on
this.
a
Mr.
national
Patra,
channel.
Mr. Sapra, could you tell me please, when you took a unanimous decision to elect Rahul Gandhi as the president of your party, this would mean that you believed that there was no member in this party that's as old as this country that would be better qualified to do the job. Now please explain to me, what was his qualification?
Faye, yeah. See, let me tell you, the elected AICC members, we had a session in Delhi, which your channel had also covered. And there, all the elected AICC members, they selected the president. They
Why?
said,
What
come
was
on,
his
we want
qualification?
only Rahul Gandhi. There was nobody who was willing to fill the form.
What was his qualification?
What? Qualification?
Yes.
No. Well, see, the elected AICC members, they felt that Rahul Gandhi
why
should
did they
be
feel
our
that?
leader, and we know his. Why did they feel that? Because it is our party. It is the internal matter of the party. It's
Okay,
not
so
a
this is
public
interesting,
matter.
gentlemen. So
All
Mr.
the elected
Sapra says
AICC
we all
members,
feel that Rahul Gandhi is the only one who can lead us, and this is our internal matter you can't question us about.
There was no competition.
Why was there no competition? So you are a group of politicians. Nobody wanted to contest an election.
Matter of the party. I said internal matter of the party because you were asking about the qualifications. It is the internal matter of the party.
Shehzad Poonawala wanted to contest. You expelled him from your party for wanting to contest against Rahul Gandhi.
No, oh, that's the reason he said.
Nobody expelled. Shehzad Poonawala was not the member of Congress party. Let me make it clear again.
Okay, so basically to be a member of the Congress
very
party, you need to
convenient. I mean,
explicitly never
he
want to
participated
contest
in the
against
debate
Rahul
as a
Gandhi.
Congress member.
No, but I don't want to go down this road, because if you've told me that you don't need to answer to anyone because it's an internal matter, then that's up to you. The election results are on the front page of every newspaper. You should take a moment to read them.
Internal matter of electing Congress president.
Okay,
The
fair enough. It's
internal
your
matter
party.
is to elect the Congress president. You are not going to elect the Congress president.
I
You are
certainly
not
am
the
not.
AICC member.
Nobody is going to elect the Congress president, and certainly not the people of Amethi either, Mr. Charan Singh Sapra. Take a moment and read the election results. Apparently, everybody else is embarrassed for the Congress party except the Congress party. Nobody is going to elect the Congress president except you guys who will elect him over and over again.
We have accepted the result, but this is not the way. This is not the way to ask that Congress party doesn't have an electoral process. That's wrong. We have an electoral process right from block level to the president of all India Congress level. You want me to talk on each stage? I'm ready to talk on your show.
No, please don't. Let me just move on. I just want to ask
Of course
Hitesh
it is
Jain
in
this.
practice.
Mr. Jain, what is the BJP's plan for Jharkhand and
You don't
Haryana?
have any right to ask me the questions also.
I don't have
First,
rights
go
to
and
ask you
read
questions.
the rule book
Well,
of Congress
as far
party.
No, one
as-
second.
Constitution of
Sorry.
Congress
This
party.
is fun. No, let's
read
go
the
back to Charan Singh Sapra.
Constitution.
I don't have rights to ask you questions.
I said.
I don't have a right to ask you
I
questions.
said read the Constitution of Congress party. Without reading the Constitution of Congress party, Mr. Raut doesn't have any right to ask the question.
Mr. Raut has every right to ask you questions.
Read the
because
Constitution of Congress party.
This is a democratic country and asking questions is our right. You can choose not to answer questions, which is also your right.
Of course, this is
But
a
please,
democratic country.
I
but
mean,
if,
this is
but if
complete
Mr.
and
Raut is
utter
asking
nonsense,
me a
Mr.
different, a
Sapra.
wrong question, then he needs to go through the
Please, go ahead.
Constitution or allow me to dictate the Constitution.
No, please don't.
Mr.
Please
Mr.
don't.
Sapra.
Do us a favor. Do not dictate the Constitution of the Congress
Or-
party
or-
and
or
how
allow
you
me-
held fair elections that voted Rahul
Mr.
Gandhi into
Sapra,
power.
while this discussion was on, there were three things I'd written down on a sheet of paper,
We
which
had a
unfortunately
fair
seems to have had
election.
such a trickle-down effect even to the spokesperson, which was this. The points that I wrote was that the problem with the Congress...
Have you seen that sheet of paper? Are you aware of the process? You are just giving
Mr.
an
Sapra,
idea which is not
Sapra, can you
acceptable to
for
me.
30
I know the
seconds just
Constitution of
listen?
Congress
Why are we
party.
wasting our
We have
time?
followed that
No, all right.
constitutional
Mr.
process.
Sapra, you
We
have
have
to
followed our
stop.
constitutional
Okay, I'm not going to
process.
question your Congress party anymore, because actually, if you look at the election results, there's no point. But Vinay Tiwari, go ahead.
Look, I had written down three things which was more in relation to the leadership. Unfortunately, my sense is that there is a trickle-down effect which has gone down to the last mile, to the last worker, which is this. the Congress leadership suffers from a serious problem of ego, serious problem of insecurity, and some very poor advice. And I thought I saw that all of those three in the last 10 minutes or so when Mr. Sapra was speaking. This is ego of another level altogether, when you're not even willing to take questions if they're uncomfortable, part A, especially when your needle has shifted from 44 to 52 in 5 years of introspection. Number two, there is this deep insecurity that the leadership has of any strong leaders at the center. Mr. Rajshekar Reddy was a very strong leader, died a tragic death, but I can guarantee you that this leader, the party leadership, gets very uncomfortable when there is a strong leader that emerges from the states. And that has been the biggest problem with this party. And they are still in that denial mode is very scary for Indian democracy.
Well, I just want to bring in Neerja Chaudhary. I saw her hand go up. Ms. Chaudhary, go ahead.
No, I wanted to make the point, you know, even in 2014, 105 million Indians voted for the Congress when it got 44 seats. I don't know what the number is in 2019 with the 50 odd seats that they have got. So to treat the Congress party, the grand old party of India, as the Jagir of only a group of people about which nobody in the country has a right to ask a question or to make a suggestion of how it could do better and why elections should not be held in ABCD way, it shows a very, I mean, I'm quite pained by that kind of an attitude, because the strengthening of the Congress party has a bearing on the future of India and Indian democracy. How will you keep a party which has got such a huge mandate in check unless you start to revive? What kind of a democracy are we going to have? It's not only about what you think or Mr. Rahul Gandhi thinks or somebody else thinks. It's about our future together as a country.
Absolutely.
So to limit it, you know, we will decide, you just don't question us at all. It doesn't make sense at all. And since, you know, and you are asking a question because Rahul Gandhi's proposed resignation has been in the news, that he is going to give his resignation as the party president. It's a legitimate question for me and you to ask, is that going to be accepted? There's nothing wrong with that. And if so, who's going to replace him? What are the possibilities?
And you know, yes, absolutely. And I just want to point out what they're up against. Hitesh Jain of the BJP. Has the BJP begun working on Maharashtra, Haryana and Jharkhand already? Hitesh Jain, can you hear me? We seem to have lost that line, but just to open this up, Mr. Raut, unfortunately, Don't Ask Questions was directed at you, a journalist and a two-time parliamentarian, so I apologize that you had to hear that. But unfortunately, this is, and the BJP will be back in its war room starting today, working on the next 3 elections, or the next 4 elections.
Much earlier, I think.
Much earlier, in fact,
they
much
would have
earlier.
started already.
Yeah. So, for a party that's in denial, it's going to be very difficult for them to you know, to survive at all.
Sooner they get out of this denial mode, better it is for the party. Because if you keep denying the fact, actually that works against you, not for you. For some time, yes, you will cheer up your volunteers.
Yes.
But beyond that, what? If a horse is dead, you have to call it a dead horse. Don't flock it and ask, expect him to run. It is not possible. So if Rahul Gandhi at all has to continue, let him face. I'm not saying he should go. Yes, if there is a possibility that without him the party will crumble further. Therefore, he should continue in that case. But for that, he has to follow some process, some procedure. Yes. Without that, I read one joke just now that if Rahul Gandhi has to resign, whom does he resign to?
Yes.
So he will resign to Rahul Gandhi. Then Rahul Gandhi in return, it is all funny thing. But Rahul Gandhi in return will ask Rahul Gandhi that why are you resigning? The Rahul Gandhi will tell another Rahul Gandhi that yes, I'm taking the responsibility. But that Rahul Gandhi will say, no Rahul, it is not your own only responsibility, but it is the party's responsibility. So better you continue in the party, keep leading it and take it to the further height. So this Rahul Gandhi will again say, yes, Rahul Gandhi, if you are saying that, I will continue doing that and the matter would be over. Rahul Gandhi would continue. That type of the president of a national party, and as you said, the oldest party of the nation should not come to this mode. They should not become part of joke.
You know, for them to think that this is an internal matter and it doesn't affect you, we are currently looking at a full parliament term with no leader of opposition.
Correct.
Because nobody qualified
Correct.
to lead the opposition. That has a direct impact on the way parliament functions and hence has a direct impact on every single citizen of this country. So not only did you lose, you lost so badly that there was no opposition in parliament.
For the
Second time.
Which means at the end of this 10 years, there will be no.
Yes, and you are not ready for Haryana, you're not ready for Jharkhand, you're not ready for Maharashtra. And I just want to ask that question to Hitesh Jain. Hitesh Jain, when did the BJP begin working on the Haryana, Jharkhand and Maharashtra state elections?
Well, we started the work 3 years before because we do not wait for 2019 to decide. According to us, if 2014 was about hope, then 2019 is going to be about the performance. Our campaign is ready, our leadership is ready, we have the vision for the state of Maharashtra, Haryana, Jharkhand, and we will go with a proper vision, plan, and about the work that has been done. We will speak to the people and we will convince the citizens of all these 3 states about the work that has been done by the Bharatiya Janata Party government in the last 5 years. We are very confident about the performance and our performance will again help us win the elections with flying colors.
See? I mean, that should rest the case entirely. But before we wrap it up, one last question to anyone who wants to answer this. Jammu and Kashmir. There were state elections that the EC decided should not be held along, simultaneously with the, with the central election. So that's pending. How important will that be? And will we see Jammu sort of overpower Kashmir? There is this thing, but will we see more of a BJP emergence in the valley? How is that going to turn out?
Look, in Jammu and Kashmir, frankly speaking, they're 2 separate states altogether.
Yes, actually, they have nothing in common.
Chalk and cheese, there's nothing similar between the two. Unfortunately, that's the reality of it, and they will never together be on the same side. That's pretty much gone. With the BJP, PDP experiment, that's never going to happen again. I mean, look at what happened to the PDP now. It was something waiting to happen. And that has made Jammu Kashmir's politics very odd, perhaps sometimes very divisive, and also not good for the future of the state, because the state policies are, I mean, the real issue is in the valley. And you need democracy there. You need a local, homegrown party, strong party to be able to govern.
Does the NC not fill that gap?
Of course, yes. But obviously, there is NCP and PDP you really don't have. You have a couple of other new people who are going there. There are so-called new leaders emerging. But the fact of the matter, these are the 2 principal parties there. But the divide between the 2 regions is so huge and so intense. And the politics of the 2 regions is so different now that it just makes the whole thing a little muddled. So the politics of one region is determining the outcome in the other. And that's not a very good sign for a very sensitive state.
But, we did comment on the fact that the turnout in the valley for this election was very, very poor. Yes. But we also know that when it's a state election, the turnout tends to be higher because people get more involved in that state election. What impact will yesterday's election result have on the state election, Mr. Sen?
The point is, I think that it'll still be. I don't think, first of all, that the election commission is going to be in a bit of in a hurry to have elections, assembly elections, considering all the other assembly elections they're going to be running. The point remains is, I think, as you said, at the state level, at the national level, for the national elections, the turnout is low, because there's a disconnect, at least in the valley, between Srinagar, the valley, and let us say Delhi. There's a complete disconnect because they don't see much hope of getting anything out of Delhi at the moment. Then there is at the assembly level, the turnout is higher, but remarkably, if you go back in time, not so long ago, the panchayat level had turnouts of 70 to 80%.
Yes, yes.
And there were boycott calls. So I think that a certain focus has to start from the other way around, which is that you start off by empowering the panchayats, and there's enough, precedence of money going direct to the panchayats. Unfortunately, what happens is when the money development funds go to the state, it gets stuck in Jammu and in Srinagar, depending on where the capital is in summer and winter. Whereas if it goes directly from the center to the panchayat level, a lot of work gets done. And that enthuses a lot of people to vote, because then they know where their money is going.
Where the money is
so
going,
I think this is where I think the whole election process in Jammu and Kashmir should be kick-started bottom upwards, you know, basically.
We've run out of time and I'm going to leave it here, but while I thank my panelists, I just want to put one thing out there. Very interesting advice that came in through the conversation for Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party that has been claiming for the last 24 hours that they are going to introspect. So in conclusion, the advice that emerges from the panel for the Congress party is this: for as long as Rahul Gandhi is standing for the election of the party president, nobody is going to oppose him. But there are several family-run businesses in this country that form a good example, where the members of the family sit on the board of directors. They hire a CEO. The CEO runs the company and is answerable to the board of directors, and the board of directors then get a regular quarterly update on how that CEO is doing. When you do that, and you hire a CEO straight out of the market, you can allow CEOs to compete with each other and get the best person for the job. Maybe it's time to introspect and ask yourself those questions. Thanks for watching.